Mr. Atwood thought that I was coming to his house late night and parking outside of his house in a gold vehicle. I don't even have a vehicle, never owned a gold vehicle. It wasn't me. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Quick reminder, there is a township meeting tonight. That's up at the township building here in North Huntington. I really hope to see you there. But I was getting some footage in order and getting some documents in order, evidence, if you will. And I was reviewing some of the old meeting footage that I have. And I just want to point out, and I didn't catch it, but I caught it reviewing, that on May 15th, Eric Gass suggested that the township meet with me to try to resolve the conflict that we find ourselves in. Nobody motioned for it. It just died right there. It was nothing more than a suggestion. Nothing was done properly to get it on the agenda. And then at the following meeting, the next month, on June 12th, which just so happened the same day that Eric Gass made his statement to the public about resigning, he suggested again that the township meet with me to resolve these conflicts. This is before the July 16th meeting that I've been charged for disrupting. This is before the July 27th incident at the police department that I was arrested. This was before the July 1st incident date involving me allegedly endangering. So before all of this, right, Eric had made 2 attempts to suggest that they meet with me. But what I find extremely concerning on the second attempt, because I had spoken to Eric after his first attempt and kind of just like, hey man, what the heck? No motion, no second, no vote. I mean, the least that could be done is to do it the proper way. And then if you guys vote no to meeting with me, do it transparently in front of the public. So I think that's where the second attempt came from. And then Zach, right when Eric was done making his statement about me, my situation, and meeting with me, Zach said, motion. Does anyone motion? But then Eric jumped back in and said, oh no, wait a minute. And then he went into his resignation speech. And then everybody said their good things about Eric. And then Zona quickly motioned for an adjournment. So again, the first time, no motion, it dies as a suggestion on the floor. The second time, it's brought up again, but not in the form, I guess, of a motion. And when Zach tried to clarify, that's a motion, right? Eric went into his retirement speech. So, I don't think that Eric Gass is a stupid man. I don't. I do not think he's a stupid man. I think that he is intelligent enough of a man and skilled enough through his teachings in the armed forces, because remember, he is an Army major. I believe that is his rank. Please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But I think he's skilled enough, and I think that he's probably read enough, right? Because I would imagine that most people that climb the ranks in military career, I would hope that they read all of the literature that is associated with their profession. And I think that he would know exactly how to play the fence. I think that he would know exactly how to make it look like he's doing something, but then hurry up and beeline to create a diversion to get away from it, which is exactly what we saw on that July 12th meeting. It was, here's my suggestion, we should meet with him. All these good things were said. And then as soon as the word motion is said by Zach, he quickly creates a diversion, Eric, and jumps into, wait a second, I'm retiring. You could have told us about your retiring, sir, after you made that motion on the floor and then it was put to a second or dies at a motion. But if it's seconded, then it goes to a vote. And then in front of the people, as you're supposed to be conducting yourselves openly, transparently, you can, but see, you guys don't want to put that to a public vote because we all know that you're not going to vote to do that because you have shown no sign of intention to resolve this with me since the beginning. But you guys know how bad it's going to look on camera, on the record in front of the people. If you guys vote against that, not only that, but you'll each have to individually state your stance on the public record. Do you want to meet with me and resolve in good faith? Or do you want to just keep pushing me aside because of things that aren't even connected to me, my family, or our incident? Because that's what we have here. And I think that the people watching this locally, North Carolina, California, the United Kingdom, Canada, I think that they're watching this and they're saying, what in the world would keep every single one of them so silent like this? And what gave Eric Gass the ability to be able to stand up in the moments he did and call for the investigation into the firearm, which he was retaliated against for? He received a phone call from the chief of police and a lot of curse words from the chief and his wife. Also, he made mention to me that there were strange vehicles showing up at his house late at night, and that he had confronted these vehicles, but they would always pull away before he could see anyone that was in them. He mentioned that it was a gold vehicle, which is ironic because he shared with me that Mr. Atwood had confided in him that he thought that there's people that park outside Guffey Road sometimes. It's a scare tactic. So I think to myself, well, what do the rest of them have in common that they don't have in common with Eric? And the answer to that is quite simple: Rescue 8. Rescue 8. And the story of Rescue 8 has already been spread far and wide, and everybody can just get honest now about the role they played, what they knew, what they didn't know, what they should have done that they didn't do, what they wish they could go back and do different. But at the end of the day, what happened at Rescue 8 is over. It's in the books, and the citizens have no idea about it. That's a problem. That's a big problem. But one thing at a time. We're not ready for Rescue 8 right now. Currently, we're still dealing with the North Huntington Police Department, although Rescue 8 does seem to be attached. I mean, it is a disgusting story, Rescue 8. And a majority, if not all of the board members sitting up there outside of Eric Gass, they know about Rescue 8. I know Chief Rizzo knows. At the end of the day, I made myself completely clear in the very beginning of this to all of you, to every commissioner, to you, Chief Rizzo, every one of you. I told you, you don't know who I am. You don't know who I know. You do not know what my skill set is. You don't know what my level of intelligence is. You know zero about me, okay? And I'd like to keep it that way. But here's the only thing you really need to know about me is that I know my rights. I know what my family is entitled to if they find themselves to be victimized in this country. I know what my responsibilities are as a father and as a partner to Jordan's mother. I know that shit. Don't tread on that shit. Treat my son and his mother with dignity and respect. Answer my questions truthfully, honestly, and in an appropriate timeline. Nobody's asking anybody, and nobody has ever asked anybody to just drop everything. If you can't get back to me, if you can't answer the phone, please call me back within 3 days. But no, I was calling you guys and just not hearing back indefinitely. I was sending emails and not getting responses indefinitely. I was showing up to meetings and being told, after not being able to talk to you guys through those avenues of communication, I was then told that I could only talk for a certain amount of time. I could only exercise my First Amendment right for a certain length of time at the public meeting at the town square that's owned by the people. This is all stuff that happened before the July 1st incident with Officer Aaron Nutter. This was all before the July 27th incident at the North Huntington Police Department, where we showed up because all other avenues of communication have been cut off and the chief wasn't even showing up to meetings. This is all before the alleged incident where I disrupted the meeting on July 16th. I came in good faith from the very beginning and I documented every single step that I took because I knew better than to expect you guys to treat me with dignity, respect, and because you guys in these positions of power, not just locally in North Huntington, but at our highest levels within this country and at various levels of government around the world, that's the one thing that you all have in common is you treat the people like dog shit. That's what I've noticed. And it doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter your sexual preference. It doesn't matter your religion. The only thing that matters is, do you have membership to the club? And membership to the club is not specific to your race, your age, your gender, your sexual identity. The only requirement to the club is, do you have an issue with abusing other human beings for personal gain? If you can do that, you're in the club. But if you can't do that, and I only say that as somebody who's been offered membership multiple times. I've been offered multiple times throughout my life. I've been offered membership to the club. And what I mean by that is Kim Ward offered me membership to the club, right? If I was willing to say what they wanted me to say to the public, they were willing to give me membership to the club, and membership into the club came with certain perks. I've been offered membership to the club in my professional career. Paul Davis Restoration. I will never forget. That's out in Wexford. Paul Davis, Austin. I don't know if you're still there, Austin, at Paul Davis Restoration. Now, what I'll say about Austin is I think Austin's a good guy. I think that Austin is kind of like some of our local police here, where Austin just kind of does what he's told to do because that's what his boss is telling him to do. And sadly, Austin seems that he wants that membership to the club, that he's willing to do what this boss tells him to do. But what Austin tried to have me do the one time was we have an elderly woman. She has an issue with her roof. It's being covered by insurance. He gave me the job details. I was essentially to go out there with a bundle of shingles and swap out 3 or 4 shingles on the roof. But in the notes for my job order, it stated that she was 96, 97 years old. And the request was that I call the listed telephone number for her son so that he could be at the house so we wouldn't startle her. And I love the fact that her son thought to do that for her. So I called the son. I'm on my way over. Me and the guys will be in and out. He said, how many guys you come with? I said, me and 2 guys. He said, I think it's going to be a little longer than in and out, but I'll see you when you get here. And I get off the phone and I look at the guys and I go, he thinks this is going to take a while. It's 3 shingles. We in and out. I show up. First question from this gentleman is, where's the dumpster? The dumpster? Sir, I have a work order here and a bundle of shingles to swap out 3 shingles on the roof. Oh, no, he says. He goes inside, he gets me the work order from the insurance company, which is not the same as the work order I've been provided by Paul Davis Restoration, the company that has contracted me to take care of their insurance claims. And this guy's paperwork says that this 90-some-year-old woman is supposed to be getting an entire roof replacement to be paid for by her insurer. Paul Davis Restoration knew that. Whether or not Austin knew or didn't know, I don't know. But I know that at the end of the day, Paul Davis Restoration, which is a company that handles insurance work, they knew that the insurance company approved an entire roof. The insurance company would have sent that over to them, that they have signed off on replacing the entire roof. So for not even that much money here either, we're talking about a ranch walkable, we're not talking more than maybe a $10,000 roof. So, maybe Paul Davis Restoration was going to make $10,000 and only have to pay out, $8 grand. They were willing They were willing to cheat a 70-some-year-old woman for $8,000. And that has been my experience. Every contracting company that I have gotten with, I bring the same level of intensity that I have been putting into this movement, right? And they always want to do something with me. Whether it be partner up on this, do that. They want me to take on more responsibilities. They want me to be a leader for their crews. And I'm willing to do all that. But as soon as I see that we're over here taking advantage of people for money, for financial gain, I'm out. And that has not provided me with the most financial resources throughout my life. I will admit, material wise, no, I don't have a Bugatti. This Billionaire Boys Club hoodie might be the nicest hoodie that I own, and I've had it for, years. It has bleach on it. It has holes in it. I used to be in the barbershop every Friday, getting a haircut and new shoes down at Sneaker Villa every Friday, especially when I was living on the South Side. You walk down from Pius Street, get on the bus maybe. Yeah, so I did. I lived in the material realm for a long time. And I can tell you this, I'm way happier with less, knowing that my spirit is intact, than I ever was with the freshest of fades and the crispiest of Air Force Ones. Sure, I look good, but on the inside, complete chaos, destroyed. Just not even wanting to really be here most days. But hey, on the outside, I look good. I don't play that shit no more. And I'm certainly not playing games with you guys anymore. These politicians, these police officers, this police administration. There's 2 officers within the North Huntington Police Department right now that are very aware of what's happening. Their names were brought up on court record at my last hearing. They did nothing but try to do the right thing. They did do the right thing up into not having the ability to fully come forward and be transparent and honest with the community, because, who knows? I don't know why they wouldn't come forward, especially now with all of the attention. It's not like they're going to come forward and say something and nobody's going to see them and nobody's going to hear them and they're just going to be left to the wolves, because that's really what it has been in the North Huntington Police Department for a very, very long time, is simply you're either with us or you're against us. If you're with us, you're going to do anything and everything that we do, whether it's right or wrong. And if you go against what we do because it is wrong, then we will strip you of everything you have worked for. We will just destroy. Look at what they did to Officer Ted Kukic simply for being honest with my family. That sounds like part of the job description, being honest with the community and the public that you serve. But now we're not living in that day today. This is a new day in North Huntington Township. This is a new day for a lot of people in a lot of different places, because we're done. Especially my generation. I feel like the millennials, especially now that the tail end of us are starting to, get to this age where we are understanding the fact that we will soon be the leaders of everything, right? Because those before us will eventually fade out into the background. And I think that it's becoming extremely evident to us, those that in middle school watched the towers come down, and then as we crossed the stage in 2008, the housing market crashed, the bubble burst in America, and we all know what that did to the economy. We had to rely on the drug trade to keep us afloat while we figured that mess out, into now a pandemic, which is, I'm not saying we've had it any worse than any other generation. I'm just trying to make sure that everybody understands that may not be in the millennial age group what some of the millennials have experienced. And those that are in my age group, we're talking, I'm 36 years old. I was in 6th grade when those towers came down. And I've studied everything in between that day up until today, and it is extremely evident to not only myself but a lot of other millennials that have the ability and the desire to read and understand. It's not very difficult to figure out how we got here, and essentially we have gotten here because we have allowed politicians and elected leaders to have the entire, they have full reign, they have control of it all. civic participation has plummeted. And that's what we're trying to revive right now. That's what we're trying to rejuvenate, is that feeling of duty that any citizen of any country should feel to their country. It is my responsibility to ensure that these things are being enforced. This is not their response. This keeps them in check. This removes power from them. They are not looking to enforce this. The agencies and the presidents and the elected, congressmen and representatives and even your mayors and your councilmen, they're not going to enforce. In fact, they are hoping that none of you pick one of these up and start reading it. That's what they're hoping. They're praying so that they can keep telling you stuff like you have to give your address and your full name to speak. Like telling you that you can't speak here at our town meeting if you don't live here. So they can keep telling you, we're going to ignore you, all your calls, all your emails, everything. We're going to ignore you. If you show up in person at our offices, we're going to arrest you. And if you come to this podium, you only have 5 minutes, so you better make it quick. That's why they don't want us to know what's in here. I mean, this is for anybody. The ISBN number on this is 978-177-4260-135. And it's the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Confederation, the Bill of Rights, because remember, that was only 1 through 10. That was initially what they wrote on paper, but then we also have all the amendments. Right? Everything. We have it all right here. And this is just a basic, get you started. So yeah, can we get a motion tonight to meet with me to resolve the issues that we now have that are now being viewed by millions of people? Are you guys ready to do the next right thing for the next right reason? I guess we're just going to have to wait and find out. And I think it's probably safe to say that we are not going to see Rizzo at any more meetings moving forward, which should be concerning to the public. You would think that if he was a good chief, a great chief, and a solid stand-up man, that they would definitely do some sort of ceremony for him at one of the meetings where they would give him some sort of plaque or say some words. I mean, Rizzo has been here for a long time. I mean, despite his behavior, it does not change the fact that Rizzo has been here for, what has it been, 30 some years, 40 years? I don't even know how old Rizzo is, but I think in the article in 2019, it said he had like 28 years as a police officer when they made him chief. So, I mean, he's been here a while. So was Ted Kukic, though. And seeing him slide out the back door, not by choice, I think that should have raised a couple eyebrows in the community too. A guy whose name is Ted, yet took the time to build such a rapport with the community he served that a majority of people refer to him as Teddy. And we didn't bring Teddy to the town square to give him a plaque and to thank him for his decades of service? No, we didn't. And we all know why. And then the last thing, I'm out of here. Again, another 20-some minute video because this is just such a complex topic. And there's so many intricate details that I have documented and organized that I could talk for days about the corruption that I have uncovered in North Huntington. But Katie talked to the Assistant District Attorney, Anthony Lamorelli, yesterday, just to basically ask him, why are we still doing status conferences? I mean, we've been through 3 judges, we've been through habeas corpus hearings, we've been through we've experienced a lot of things just in this case that do not happen anymore in the justice system. And that's because a majority of people are not exercising and enforcing their right to justice. That's why the system doesn't do what you're seeing it do in my situation, in my family situation. This is why it's not happening for you, is because you're not enforcing justice, because that's what the preamble says, that we the people ensure justice. So he gets real defensive with her. And I have half a mind to call Anthony Lamorelli out, to call him up and just to politely tell him, man to man, do not speak in those tones to my son's mother anymore. Okay, because he got mad because he doesn't like where this is headed. And the response that he gave to Katie, oh, well, we're still doing the status conferences because the judge can still make the decision. You know, I know that you say that you want jail time and a felony. And of course, his side is totally against both of those. And, you know, to eliminate the need for trial, the judge could end up coming up with something where instead of 6 months house arrest, it's a year house arrest and no felony. And I mean, do you guys want me to continue, or do you guys just, you catching on that it was a bunch of hot fucking garbage? And here's what I have to say. This is going to trial. You have made such a mess of this, Nicole Ziccarelli, Ron Zona, Jason Atwood, Rich Gray, Eric Gass, every single one of you, Kim Ward, the whole lot of you. This is going to trial. It's going to trial because my family has a right for it to go to trial. It's going to trial because it's the only way that we can ensure that the public get a complete and unperverted look at the truth surrounding the matter regarding not only my family's crash, but my criminal investigation. So I could not imagine the judge thinking that it would be a wise decision, that it would be in the best interest of this document to not push this to trial, if for nothing else, so that the people can see how we got here. We got here because there was a massive cover-up executed in an attempt to shield Nolan Patrick Mullen, the son of Department of Energy employees, the grandson of the sheriff, the old lawyer for the Allegheny County Sheriff's Office, and the great-grandson to Michael Martin Mullen, the representative for the District 20 of Pittsburgh, which would be the Robinson area, died while sitting in office. They have done everything they can to shield him, to shield their club membership holder, right? While looking at a 13-month-old son and a now disabled woman who still suffers from a traumatic brain injury, and they try to run them over like a Mack truck. But you did not calculate for me. I'm the anomaly. And I'm going to keep being the anomaly. And I can only hope that if for some off chance you guys are successful in eliminating me as a problem, I hope that I have touched enough hearts and minds over the last year that there will be accountability should anything happen to me. Because I am more than ready, willing, and able to take this thing to the finish line. I'll dedicate the rest of my life to not just my local situation, but to just trying to educate and build, right, some strength within the spirit of people. Not just everybody in every country should feel like this about your country. Especially if your country's operating off documents like this. We can't let them keep taking this for granted, and we can't keep taking this for granted and allowing them to use our documents as toilet paper, or some of them just pretend like they don't even exist. And I think what's ironic about that is that in the grand scheme of things, I mean, we're talking about documents that were only written, a couple hundred years ago. This stuff is very relevant still. Cases from the 1800s, very, very relevant still. Very, very. I mean, we got people from the early 1900s still kicking. We are not old enough as a country, right? Coming up on 250. I'm speaking of America. We're not old enough yet to be this bad off. It almost makes you wonder if there are those within this country in positions in power that maybe have intent to destroy the country, because we always have to acknowledge the fact that about a third of this the colonies wanted to get away from the king. A third wanted to stay under the king's wing. And then another third just sat there with their thumbs up their ass and did nothing, right? And when we won, we didn't deport the ones that did nothing. So, of course, we still have people in this country that do nothing. And we didn't deport anybody who wanted to stay under the rule of the king. And most of them, I feel it was probably because they were benefiting in some way, some sort of kickback for being a loyal subject, which is nothing different than what we see today in politics. Is these corrupt leaders, they find these loyal subjects and they give them kickbacks. And then when somebody comes back with a revolutionary mindset of like, let's get, and it shouldn't even be revolutionary because it's already happened, let's get back to this stuff, you start touching their safety, right? Their security, their comfort, the luxuries in their lives, and they don't like that. And that's where the Lori Reamers come from, and the Bob Bossarts, and the Rob Bunoviches, and the Brian Carltons. These are the yes men and women, the Bev Puglias and the Mike Algieris. These are the yes men, and the Justin Lokays. This is where they come from. They're loyal subjects to the corruption because there's some sort of incentive. Because I understand the initial maybe pushback because you don't know yet, or I haven't gotten the story out clear enough yet that you can see what's happening. But it's been put out in a form now that is very I'm not going to say very easy because it's a complex situation, but it is easier to navigate through the information to see like exactly what's going on here. And the fact that you guys still stand in such heavy opposition. I mean, I got 3 categories. I got the doers, I got the sideline jockeys, and I got the conspirators. Each of us have to go in one of those piles. There is no fourth pile. You're either with us, you're against us, right? Or you're just scared. And if you're scared, that's okay. That's okay. It is scary. This is all scary shit that we're dealing with here. 100%. And that's okay. You can be scared. There's many other ways that you can be involved and support us. We can find ways that you can feel safe while still contributing what you have to offer to the movement. But I'm really, really hoping that soon, I just cannot believe that I'm the only person in North Huntington or in Westmoreland County that has the nuts to get up at a podium and let them have it. I don't believe that can't be. It can't be that I'm just that different. Can't be. And I'm really hoping that those other people that are like me, men, women, I don't care, 18, 88, anything in between, doesn't matter to me. I'm hoping that they start showing up to the meetings. If not, if you don't live here locally, you can still come here. If you don't want to come here, but you got stuff going on in your own area that's no good, start going to your meetings. Start putting it on the public record. We need to start holding these people accountable. And I really, really, really greatly appreciate everybody, those that have been here from the beginning, those who got here early, those just getting here now. I appreciate the ones who haven't gotten here yet because I know that they're on their way. I know this, they're going to see something, it's going to come across their screen, and they're going to jump on board just like everybody else who's seeing this is jumping on board, because it is only through unity, it is only united that we have the ability to stand. And we must put our differences aside. We are not going to ever agree on everything, but we need to agree on one thing. And this is the one thing that we have to agree on. And this is the one thing that we have to be able to, when this is being attacked, we have to be able to put every other difference we have aside. And we need to focus on this. And then we need to go into it knowing that anybody who's not jumping on board with this is the enemy. That is a domestic enemy. If you're at home and you're against it, you're a domestic enemy. If you are abroad and you are against this, you are a foreign enemy. That's not my opinion. That's not what I think. And that's not my interpretation. That's what we built this country on. We built this country on the principle of this. And we've changed a lot of things. And before anybody starts going off the deep end with that bullshit about all of the faults and flaws of the founders and how they initially set this up with not acknowledging certain things, that's why we have all these amendments here, right? Because the founding fathers did the best they could with the information they had at the time. They lived within what society accepted. And some of them on their deathbeds, they knew that they missed a couple things. Some of them were apologetic for it. So we grow as a society. They gave us the room in this document to expand on it. They knew that they weren't. I mean, the humility of the founding fathers is unmatched, right? To want to build a system where power is going to be given passed to the next person is humility. To leave room within the document for later generations to decide what's best for them, that's humility. George Washington, when they wanted him to stay in office, they were willing to make him the king. When he turned around and said, no, that's not what we just fought for, that's humility. And that's what we need right now. We need a little bit of humility in the world. We need to accept the fact that us as individuals, we're not that important. We're really not all that powerful. We're amazing creatures. We're miracles, right? Our creation alone is a miracle. But as a collective, that's where the power is. That's why they push technology and phones, because, a lot of us sit in this all day. And if we're in this, we're not connected to the world around us. But it's a great place online to build movements and build community and push messages. So it is really about what you're doing. It's not about what you do, but why you do it. Are you on here online? Are you're looking at a bunch of stuff that's not benefiting you? Or are you looking at things and educating yourself and participating in ways that are not only going to benefit you, but your children in the future? Because I think that that's our responsibility. I mean, that's what I have found for myself is my responsibility. My responsibility here while I am here on earth. And it's such a blip. That's why I say, I mean, you look at some of these laws and things and the age of the documents, and I think some people act like they're so old they don't count. And it's like, it's a blip. Average life expectancy, 75 years maybe, boop, done. And I don't know if maybe it's my life experiences that have put me in a position to be able to see that and to acknowledge that and to respect that. But I understand, boop, done. And we're not even talking about an accident. We're talking about a life expectancy. Boop, done. Those that are unfortunate enough to get taken out prematurely, I mean, it's not that. It's gone. And that's what it is. That's why all this petty stuff has to stop. That's why we have to, as leaders in the community, we have to start stepping forward, even though we're going to be mocked, and even though we're going to be judged, and even though we're going to be ridiculed and maybe persecuted, as you're saying with me. We cannot, as leaders of the community, continue to sit back to shield ourselves from the pain, because clearly we were given something within us that gives us the ability to do just that, to lead. I don't look for people to follow me, though. I'm not a leader looking for followers. I am a leader looking for other leaders, because I believe everybody in their own way can be a leader. Everybody has somebody behind them that they can pass something along to, and in doing so, leading somebody into the direction. And I think that there's too many people that are selling themselves short, that are looking at what other people have or what other people do or what other people say, and they don't even give themselves the opportunity to see what they're capable of. They just chalk themselves up as, I don't got it. And we all got it. Everybody got it. Every single one of you watching this video has what I have. You just have to find it. You need to learn how to use it. We all have it. Are you open to it, though? That's the question. Once you become open to what you have and you acknowledge the responsibilities of what you have, then you do go through a process of years of learning how to hone what you have so that you can best implement it in ways that are going to do the most good. But if you take the time to discipline yourself and dedicate your time to doing that, and you put all of the vices down, and you'll pick them up throughout the way. Look, I got one of these again. Shouldn't do that, kids. It's not good for you. I hate hitting that thing in front of my son. But I'm not perfect. I'm a human being, so I have vices, right? But if we're actively and consciously making an attempt to control those vices and to stay away from that stuff that's no good for us, we start to evolve. Human beings are not done evolving yet. And all this extra stuff is stunting our growth, you know? I'm just not okay with that anymore. I'm certainly not okay with being in the third that's sitting on the sidelines with my thumb up my rear. Because that's where I was. I was making issues at first, and then I got right, and I jumped into the participation part, and then I didn't like what the politicians were doing and how they were trying to use me to further their agendas that I didn't agree with. So I left there, and I jumped over into the third that wasn't doing anything. I was just minding my P's and Q's and trying to make it through. You know, somebody that I really respect. You know, their guidance. You know, they told me something passed along to them. I think it was by their father, might have been his grandfather, but it was along the lines of, like, you know, just buy a piece of land, you know, on the earth, build a family, and then watch the world spin. And I get that, and I wish that I don't know. Some days I want that, and other days I think to myself, well, that's a life not examined is not worth living. And I don't want to just watch it spin, especially the way it's spinning right now. I want to participate. I want to make sure that no matter which way this history goes, that there's no question by those who may come across it as to where I stood and what I believed in and what I was willing to do to protect the ideals within this country. How far was I willing to go to protect the ideals and the beliefs of even men like Socrates with the citizens of the world? Peacefully. Peacefully. That's the only way that we can do this, is peacefully. And I say that because we have not come together as a collective, organized to the point where we have actually made a move on the system legally. I mean, that's been what everybody's been trying to encourage me to do. Just file a lawsuit, file a lawsuit, file a lawsuit, file a lawsuit. And the reason for that is because, you know, you file a lawsuit, they make agreements where you can't discuss things and the whole nine. And, like, sure, you walk away with a fat bag of money, but you're just walking away from an abusive system knowing it's going to turn around and do it to somebody else. Then they'll turn around and give them a fat bag of money, and they just keep doing that. Whereas I'm at the point where, like, I've always believed that money is a byproduct of doing the next right thing for the next right reason. I have made money my objective, and I can tell you those are the points in my life that I've been the most miserable. When I don't make money my objective and I make doing the right thing my objective, money seems to always find me. And no, it's not millions, and I'm okay with that. I don't need millions. I need to be able to go to sleep at night knowing that I didn't harm anybody. Those are the things I need. Do I want millions? Yeah, sure, I'll take millions. That would make things a lot easier. Probably just turn around and invest most of it back into this. Billboards on 30 of Chief Rizzo's face, billboard trucks, paying people to drive them around town. I mean, I want to have some serious talks with some locals that are ready to get busy about how can we get a civic center in place. Because that's the irony is, you know, Rich Gray trying to say that we can't have a citizen oversight committee, and quite frank, that we don't need one because they are the oversight committee. How confused you are, Rich Gray. The Oversight Committee was established a long time ago. I mean, that's just how far away we've gotten. Just one more example of how far away we've gotten from this thing, that commissioner who's been up there multiple years and has just been elected again for another term, right? I think he left and even came back for more terms. He's trying to say that he's the Oversight Committee. You don't oversee shit, Rich. It's all overseen by the people. And that's the problem right now, is nobody's overseeing right now. There's not enough oversight to really handle and rectify some of these problems. And part of that reason is that there's members of our oversight committee that are complicit in criminal actions. How the hell are you guys going to oversee anything? You're a bunch of criminals.